What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, back as always for another episode of TokuBrew podcast, or the TokuBrew podcast, depending on who you're talking to. With me, as always, is my always lovely, always ready to conversate co-host and fiance.
I'm Stormy.
With our third co-host.
This is Maggie.
Our dog. So
if you hear noises, that's her. So
she's
this
just
week
here.
in Toku.
Yeah, so this week in Toku, obviously, continuing our trend of just talking about DonBrothers.
There'll be more later, we swear.
Like, yeah, it's like the Veil special and stuff just started, but we wanted to get Revice talked about first.
Yeah, because we only did like the first episode, first impressions, and now we're like, what,
27
at least halfway through the series?
Who knows? Probably, yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we'll do a nice long podcast about catching up with that, and then we can do the Veil special along with DonBrothers once we do that.
A proper Revice catch up and just be like, yeah, this is actually how we're feeling about it.
That's gonna be a long one, man. That's gonna be a long one, I can tell you right now.
But it's good.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, DonBrothers is on episode 4 this week. Did I say episode 3 earlier?
I don't know.
Either way, it's episode 4, so whatever I said earlier, hopefully it was 4, but it's episode 4.
We don't know what we're talking about.
But, you know. And this was a fun episode.
Yeah, this was really fun. This is probably one of my favorite ones so far.
Well, it was the one that I feel like gave you a lot more backstory to everything. So,
yeah.
So episode 4.
I've noticed that I imagine this will continue to be the trend. It's like, oh, they'll introduce or explain more of one of the other Sentai members while also giving more on Momotaro.
Yeah.
Like, it's like always like, this person and Momotaro. This person and Taro. This person and Taro, you know? Which makes sense, because he's kind of central around the story, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and in this episode, we gotta pretty much see that at the end of last episode, as you noticed, they were, like, starting to fight, which they actually pick up. Apparently, he was just fighting the others as well until they all just disappeared.
Yeah, and he would, like, kick them out and stuff.
Yeah, and kick them out of the Avatar realm? I'm not quite sure how it works.
The Avatar state.
Like, yeah, it's... So it's like, Oni's sister ends up in a pond.
Yeah, she's just upset. She actually met up with Blue. They figured out who the other was, and they're like, oh, I guess he's just trying to train us, so I guess...
Wait, you're missing over the part where they saved a child and their mom, and the only reason they found out their identities is because they were both like, oh, we gotta save them!
Yeah, one for the kid, one for the mom.
And they changed with their blasters, and they were just like, oh! It's like oh, no, you!
Yeah, it was the classic kid chasing a ball into the street. And there was funny enough, a motorcycle that almost hit them. And I was like, is that Black?
Yeah, it looked like Inoue, brother.
Is that Inoue?
Which...
Yeah, and still learning the names. I'm probably just gonna refer to them as, like, either their color or if I know their name.
I'm gonna just call them by their ranger name until I learn their actual names. The only one I think we can say definitively that we know is just Taro.
Is Taro.
Because it's so easy. But
there are a billion Taros in Toku.
But yeah, no, it was really interesting that they were really trying to puzzle together, being like, why is he fighting us if we're supposed to be, like, helping him? Or, like, Yellow was like, hey, I thought I was supposed to serve him, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
I had to, like, pledge
to get what
something.
To get what I lost back.
She even was confused and went back to the electric prison and was like,
oh yeah, she's like,
what am I doing wrong? And he's just like, you're not. You're doing good. No, well, fuck off. And he kicked her out.
Yeah, which, by the way, we found out his name is Jin this episode.
Of course he's named Jin. He looks like a Jin.
I think that's what
he looks a lot like, I mean, obviously,
he was
like from, like, Amazons.
Yeah,
they always seem to have a look.
The goatee.
Scraggly hair, the facial hair, you know?
Dad.
A dad.
Even though it's like he wasn't called Dad, but, like, yeah, so we find out that...
Taro's called him his dad.
Well, Taro just kept calling him Jin. He's like, here, Jin. You know, he was kept calling him Jin.
Are you sure? I feel like he called him Dad at one point.
I'll have to rewatch.
Maybe it was us calling it, and I just... Why is he in prison, I'm realizing? Why is he there?
Why is he in electric prison? I don't know.
Again, I imagine we'll find out later, but I'm just really curious, like, why is he in there?
So we continue our quest of finding out that Taro is more Jesus, being perfect at everything.
He is the Gary Sue.
kind of. Like, but it's like he doesn't feel like it.
No, I wouldn't say he is. I feel like they took the concept of a Mary Sue or a Gary Sue and then kind of flipped it on its head because they're running into the problems a Mary Sue would encounter in real life.
That
which
everyone
is
hates
everyone hates them.
Well, it's like, the thing is, like, yeah, everyone hates him. And, like, nobody's that kind to him. But it's like, he also doesn't treat it like, oh, the world's so much suffering for me. He's just doing
like,
what
that makes sense.
He's just doing what he thinks is right, and he's trying to help as many people, even if it gets really annoying.
Yeah, well, because what we saw was we actually saw a lot of his, like growing up, like, him as a kid. And he was in this, like, apartment complex. And, like, as Yellow was talking to... Oops. As, the...
Oni's sister.
Yeah, as Yellow was talking to Electric Prison Dad... I lost my train of thought. Oops. But, he was giving him, like, her different stories and a little bit more, like, context towards, Taro's, and it's like, oh, it showed them growing up in this apartment complex, and he would just all the time go around to people like, you're doing it wrong, and then he would do it perfectly. Like, you're doing it wrong, you should do this instead, and... it was so funny, but also so sad. Because
at first it seemed like people were like, oh yeah, this is nice, you actually did that. But it reached to the point where they were rioting for him to leave.
It was so funny and so sad.
They were holding signs saying, Taro,
leave, like, get out. And then he couldn't read the signs. He couldn't read the signs, and he was just like, look, they're holding a festival. That looks so happy and cool, right? And he's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then, like, Jin's just like, yep, okay.
And then he run the entire apartment complex. He just run everyone out. Like, everyone left.
They said no.
I mean, I wonder what part of them they thought he was annoying. Like, if that... I just woke up. I just had my coffee. I'm sorry. But it's like, I wonder what aspect is what annoyed them. Is it, constantly being told, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong? Or is it just the fact that he's consistently bothering them in general? Or is it the fact...
too helpful.
Is it like, again, like, people don't like to be told that they're wrong. And that's basically what he was leading with all the time, is, you're doing it wrong. Or is it just, like, I had an idea, because one of the things that we saw was he helped someone out with... a model kit. I think it was like a Gundam.
It was straight up a Gundam.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you're doing it... Because he was clipping the things out of the little... What do you call them?
The sprues?
Yeah, he was clipping them out. He's like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then it's just all put together. Like, whoa! I'm just like, do you think it got to the point where he started doing tasks for people, but it was tasks that they actually wanted to do? Because isn't a big part of having a Gundam figure, or even just, like, a model kit in general, like, isn't most of the fun putting it together? Like, is it like, oh, you're doing it wrong, but it's like, I don't care, I wanted to put it together, you didn't need to put it together, I wanted to do that, like, even if it was wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was an aspect, or if it was, I'm just looking way too into it.
Maybe. Again, it's just, like, I felt like it was just showing that he was, like, it was showing without fully without having to beat it into your head that he's this mythical boy who's perfect at... He came down in a peach, for fucking sake. Like, I can't...
He came from the sky and was born from a peach. I mean, come on.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, Mary Sue, Gary Sue, whatever. It's like, honestly, I don't feel that with that character, because it's like, you get so annoyed because it's like, they're like, oh, everything's perfect for me. He's just a guy. He's just like, and he's good at everything, and he wants to help people. He doesn't lie. Yeah, and, like, we even got to hear that. He's like, I don't get why people would lie. He doesn't understand it. Like, it's something his brain can't accept.
I mean, I'm a little bit like that to an extent, of just, like, I just feel like lying isn't worth the time or effort most of the time, and it's like, and the consequences only get worse if you lie, so I just don't bother, even if it hurts, even if it sucks, I just get it out of the way. But, I mean, it's like, but even I still understand why people need to lie every once in a while. Like, for instance, the old lady that lost her mind because he kept calling her old. It's just like, nah, you look like a young spring flower. It's just like, nah, you look old as fuck. It's like, you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
To be fair, though, at least all his answers are blunt. He's not being like, oh, you're past your prime. Get out of here, grandma.
You're over the hill, and now you're going under it. Like, he's not a jerk about it. He's just honest.
Yeah, he's just brutally honest almost. Not brutally, I guess, but like...
It's just blatantly
But this
honest.
was another monster, another example of...
Again, I loved this episode.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I really liked this episode.
I liked this episode.
Then again, I have a soft spot for Pink at the moment. Like, he's just...
Oh, yeah,
I love him so much.
I was about to say, is that all we really learned about Taro this episode? But obviously we learned that aspect of a lot of people just don't like him.
I know. I've been, like... Because after Yellow and Blue trained a little bit with each other... He does have a little bit of Soko vibes, doesn't he?
Where he just wants to do good and be a really good person.
But
and
he's
the world just wants to beat the shit out of him.
Pretty much. I feel like the contrast is Sogo was bad at his job, and Taro and Taro is too good at his job.
Again, I want to see, because Momotaro has the best luck in the world. Everything goes right for him. Get him and Ryotaro from Deno in the room. Will the world split in two for having the polar opposites of luck near each other?
Or will it be like if you like rub two magnets together and they just like lose their power? They're just like, no, I'm normal now. I mean,
or do they go shoot off to the stratosphere?
Oh my gosh, that's.
Oh god, don't get him in the room with Lucky.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Then the universe would explode
from too much good luck. Mm-hmm. Too much money would be made.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, after, like, they were training together a little bit, and they actually, like, actively attacked him this time, basically trying to show, hey, we're training and trying to get better.
Oh, he said interesting.
He's like, oh, interesting. Still not good enough. Dance for me, little monkey. And then like, shoots at their feet.
Shoots them all.
It's still funny, but it's like, I like that, like, they're starting to catch on to, like...
I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Of them being like, well, we also don't know how to battle, and obviously he does.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
like once we thought about it a little more and we talked about it, it makes a lot of sense, actually, because Taro's been doing this for a while now. Like,
it's seeming like it.
Seemingly, like, I mean, seems like he's been aware of this, like, ever since for at least a long time, I imagine. Like, they're like, okay, this is kind of like what I was born to do. It's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Like, oh, he kind of knows his destiny or something like that. Again, we don't know that much.
Yeah, I'm
guessing a little bit.
This is the only thing the characters have stated, and even Blue just said, hey, it's speculation. I can't say for sure.
Yeah. And it makes sense because, like, we've seen Yellow, and it's like, yeah, she's not doing a bad job, but you can tell that she's kind of sloppy. Which makes sense. These guys were just normal people, and then they just got randomly chosen to fight. It's like, I mean, if, like, one of us were to be chosen to do something like this, we'd probably need to train, too, just because we're just normal people, you know? Yeah, which makes sense. Which is kind of interesting, you know?
Yeah, which I do like that aspect. And it's like, it allows them to have it spaced out for what the team can do. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see what the regular team dynamic is when, like, all of them are in the fold. And it's like, it seems like that's what we're leading to next episode, that everyone's gonna know their identity. Mm-hmm. But even when you had stuff like Kyoryuger, where it's like, they weren't a team. Even, like, Zenkaiger, I felt like they actually pieced it and pasted it each episode. They got a new member each episode. With this, we have all 5 members, but they're still not working together. Now we have Yellow and Blue working together, but nobody else. Like, Pink is still doing, like, he helps, but it's like he's not actively being like, oh yeah, Blue, throw me this thing. It's like they're just fighting, and it's just conveniently they're all there.
Yeah, they're not working together as a team necessarily. Right. And it was something I think I talked about a little bit last episode, but I don't know if it was probably done on purpose, but they're doing it so well where it seems like they've made, I'm going to say us, like, just in general, but maybe it's just me. I'm, like, actively excited to see how these personalities are going to mesh, because I feel like they've set up them, like, individual, oh my gosh, I can't speak, them as individuals, and then a couple, not a lot, but just a couple of, like, interpersonal relationships. But I cannot wait to see everyone mingling at the same time, which I think we're going to be next episode, because it seems like everyone's going to be together, and they weren't in suit, so it seems like they're starting to really figure out.
We did just get the look at the first robot of what, is it I think it's like the Robotaros or something like that, I can't remember. But we just got those, so it's like we know they're going to have to become a team because they're all going to become robots, and they're going to combine, so... Yeah. But,
Which is
I like it a lot.
I'm realizing we haven't seen Momotaro's with Jiren.
Oh,
we haven't seen that in a while.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Don Zenkaio.
That's kind of crazy. Like, it's like, oh yeah, they showed it for a little bit so the kids know it's there and they can start buying the toys, but it's like they've actually held off a lot on it. Again, I imagine just for story's sake.
It's been a little bit since we've had a big monster fight.
It's kind of interesting.
But we have had little Momotaro, which again, right before Momotaro came in for the battle, you know, because he came in on his usual opening, the Peach shows up to save the monster guy. So because the villain showed up and they were about to murder him, and Momotaro was helping the guy out already. But like he saved him from the Peach. And all of a sudden, like, he was a peach and everything. So I had the thought, I'm like, because it was right before he came in. So I'm like, was he just limp on his motorcycle as the people carried him towards the battle? As he's just, like, laying there dead?
Yeah. Oh, that's what you meant. I didn't understand
like,
what you meant at
because
first.
remember, his soul goes into the peach.
All the people are, like, shaking the thing under him, like, you okay, buddy? And he just, like, flops up, like, yeah, I'm back!
Yeah, he's like, all right,
Starts
let's
fanning
go.
himself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really do like the vibe of this show.
This is fun.
A lot of the characters, Kaji Brothers, I think I agree with you, probably the best. He's one of my favorites.
Really love
I
him.
honestly, Saru Brother Monkey, is the one, like, I feel like I thought I knew what he was gonna be like, and he completely changed it. I'm always now really interested in what the fuck he's gonna be doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I was like, oh, he's gonna be a pompous kind of professor, like D-bag, like gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm better and smarter than you guys, and like he's gonna punch people. No, he's just a dude who's living his life. Like I think I said that last episode.
He's kind of a wild card a little bit.
It's like he's just a dude. He's like, again, apparently he has no money but owns a house. The only thing he owns is a gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you don't own money, you don't have any money, but you have a gun. How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
But
can we talk about the plot that happened this episode a bit? Because the
onigiri.
Yeah, well, can I also just start off with saying, like, because Yellow, Oni's sister, was, like, the whole thing with the last episode was she was going around with Taro in the delivering company.
Yeah. And
we actually kind of see repercussions from the last episode leaking into this episode, which was kind of interesting of, our lights all got stolen, so we're closed for business while the investigation is going on. She's like, well, that's a stupid reason to close your business.
Trying to return to uniform, I'm imagining.
So, Taros actually goes to, is it Kaji Brother? That's Pink?
Kaji Brother, yeah.
He goes to Kaji Brother's business, and, like, he's like, aha, we have a bond. And he's just like, I don't know you. And they're like, great, you know each other. Work together.
You vaguely know each other. Everyone had that in a school project.
Yeah.
Let's not lie. Everyone's had that in one point in their life where they're like, or somebody's like, hey, I know you. And they're like, oh, you know him? And you're just like, barely. Well, he's with you now. See you later.
I think it's kind of nice that we actually know what kind of business he's working for now. Because usually when it's like, they're a businessman, they're a salary man. It's just like you just see them in an office, and it's just nondescript. With this, they actually like give you like, oh, he's doing this.
What was it again?
I don't remember the official title, but
it's like they refurbish.
It was basically they help businesses that aren't doing well do better. I believe like they basically like go around and be like, okay, where are the issues? How can we help figure this out?
Yeah.
Again, I don't remember exactly what it was, but can I just say, this is the perfect job for Taro?
In a way.
Basically.
Well, you say that, but he turned a dude into a monster.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that was his own issues. If he was just I don't know, I just feel like this is basically like what he was almost born to do at this point. It's just like, people are struggling, I'm gonna go in, whip them into shape, and fix everything. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he worked at Pheasant Consulting. Yes, I just looked into the episode to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're basically business consultations. And it was just like an onigiri shop, and we also saw more of Pink and his wife, and it was super cute.
It was so cute.
They're so excited.
I love it. I think it's really interesting that we had him and Taro. You got to see them all work together, and again, you get to see bits of Taro almost being like, it's like he's trying to help people be their best, but it makes him seem like an asshole. But it's like, that's not what he's meaning.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, and it's always really interesting because it's like you see when they first get there and everything, and he's just like, oh. And it's like, you have Kaji brother who's trying to be like all formal and be like, hey, we're here, this is what we're doing, and Taro was immediately like, show me the goods, let's try your onigiri, we're doing that first.
Yeah, and he actually gave like some legitimately good advice. He's just like, you need to go and try other people's onigiri, because it's like, I can tell you did this really well, but you need to go and find, like, go and try other people's so that you can make sure that you're getting like the best results. Like, oh, this was really good, I'm gonna do this in this part. You know, it makes sense. And
I do like that they didn't go with like the end of the episode after he was already, you could tell he was becoming a monster, and like he made another onigiri for him, that they didn't go with the plot of like
this
Taro
is awful.
Taro
it wasn't made with love.
Yeah, like Taro being like, oh, it's good, but you lost something very important. You lost the heart of it.
Yeah, I was
but,
like, this is either gonna go one of two ways.
And then he said, oh no, this is the second best onigiri I've ever had.
99 out of 100.
And all of a sudden he's like, what? And he's like, and then he Taro apparently just decided, he's like, all right, I'm going to show you. Which you said you couldn't tell the difference. I think it was just like how it was pointed was the difference.
It's probably like, oh, what's in the inside matters. And can I just say, they basically gave us such a funny joke on accident. Well, it wasn't on accident, but it's just like, oh, yours is the second best in Japan. Oh, who's the first? Me, bitch.
Me.
Mine's 100 out of 100. And the reasoning that they gave made a little bit of sense. It made sense, I guess, because it's like, oh, you made this shop and you're really good with how you make onigiri because you grew up eating your grandma's. And
yeah, you're doing it off your grandma's.
Because your grandma made it for you all the time. Me, the reason mine's better is because I always made it for someone else. His dad, or
the person he was making it for.
And it's like, I made it for someone else. You've always had things made for you. You've been the consumer. I've been the one giving. Like, that's the difference. And then, I actually like that Kaji brother actually chimed in and was like, he can't help that. But then he went completely apeshit and turned into a monster. And they almost killed him. Momotaro swooped in.
Like we mentioned earlier. But then, like, I think it was really interesting. Like, as soon as he left, the boss left, he really went to the other workers. He's like, all right, you guys gotta pick up what you're doing. You gotta pick up the slack. And
sit-ups now.
Yeah, he was like, you gotta clean the floor like this. And, like, you just see Taro zooming around back and forth. They're like,
we're not flexible. And he's just like, and then he's like outside stretching them. And they're like, ah, it hurts.
And then Kaji brother's like, oh, I'm gonna stretch too. I'm gonna train.
You know what? I'm gonna do it with
Yeah, because they're like, oh, he's like, I want to change. And, like, that was something nice that we got to see from Kaji brother.
And then he gets home and she's putting, like, an icy hot patch on his back. And he's like, ah, it hurts. And she's like, you better sit up if you love me. And he just, like, stands completely straight up.
Yeah,
and it was like,
it was so cute.
So cute.
It was so cute.
I don't even remember.
There was a scene where it's like, I don't even think we hear what he asks.
Yeah, like
but he's like, hey, I want to ask you something. She's like, I'll let you can ask me anything or something like that.
And they were like kneeling on the ground facing each other. And they just like started like doing that like happy bounce and they were like holding hands. It was so cute. I almost died. But
yeah, it was really cute.
We love a good simp in the house. We love a good simp. Oh, I bumped the thing. Yeah, I don't think we ever really did hear what the question was.
We didn't. I don't think we did. But,
again, I feel like...
I think it was a really fun
I'm
episode.
a sucker for Pink. I'm a sucker for this guy.
It had a bunch of really good aspects when you look at it. Mm-hmm. And we also got a little bit of Inoue brother.
A little bit.
Like, a little bit.
I love... Like the part where like the monsters were trying to like scam him and con him.
These people who look just like generic Yakuza members.
Yeah, with like the Hawaiian shirt and the white jacket over it.
We literally looked at them and we had to pause for that second, being like, are these just?
They had the striped suit with like the white shirt underneath. The collar popped out and undone so you can show the chest. It was the hair slicked back. It was just this. If
you could get any more generic Yakuza, you would be playing Yakuza.
Yeah, pretty much. But, and then he had, like, this really cool moment. He was really intimidating. He was being
I don't have a dad.
The cool bad boy. Because they tried to do the whole, oh, your dad's in the hospital and needs money. He's like, I don't have a dad. Which is funny, because I made a joke literally seconds before that being like...
Joke's on you, my dad's dead.
Joke's on you, I don't have a dad, or something like that. And he actually said, I'm like, oh my god, I was kidding. And he actually, like, looked kind of cool and intimidating. And then he turns into a fucking dog, and it just
Then he turns into Sonic the Hedgehog. And then And then
Oh
he
my
defeats
God.
them, and then the police come, and then that's the last we see of him until he
And he's like, "Ah,
transforms,
shit!
like,
You're a monster. You're not a monster. I can't shoot you." And then he chases him. He jumps off a bridge, and the guy like looks
transports.
over, and he's gone. And it's like a thing over a highway. By the way,
Yeah,
I'm just wondering
with
what
a
is that?
mystical warp door.
What does that cop think? He's just like, "No, please don't kill yourself. It's not worth it." And he looks over, and he's just gone like,
Yeah.
"Wait, what? Where'd he go?"
So yeah, we had that, and we got to see Oni's sister and Sour brother at least start teaming up. So there's a performance of a team there, a little bit.
Again, we're starting to see the personalities.
Yeah,
start to click.
and like it was a really solid episode. I liked it a lot.
This is, again, like, I'm just really excited. Like, I feel like it's really starting to hit its stride, because in the other episodes, it was very much like, this
Set up.
is the setup, this is very much the beginning. It's fun, but I'm not, like, connecting to it. I'm not super excited for it quite yet, and I feel like it's really starting to hit the pace and hit its stride, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's party. I'm down. Let's watch this.
Yeah, I about to say I liked this episode a lot too. I about to say I don't. Again, it's like I like how there's so much where it's like that they don't have to fully tell you.
Yeah, they're really good at
Like,
show don't tell.
Yeah, and it's like even though it's like they do somewhat tell you, where it's like, oh, Taro was perfect to a fault, but they also then showed you the flashback of him as a small child being helpful to a fault.
Yeah, I feel like they're playing it like. I mean, I forget what specific moment it was. It was when Yellow and Blue were talking with each other about Taro, and they kind of insinuated a bit, and basically was like, "Oh, it's this." Like, I'm not like. I even made the joke, like, they turned to the camera, "You get that, kids?" Like, but then, again, and then they show the backstory, and then they show, like, the more...
Well, yeah, and then she immediately goes to...
The more nuanced version of it, and I'm like, you know what, like, again, like, I made fun of, like, the "you get that, kids" moment, but sometimes you kind of need that, because if you have, like, a little bit more of a complex plot, sometimes the younger viewers do need a little bit of, like, a
nudge.
A nudge, because I mean they even did that in Shakespeare. Like, I know that's a weird thing to compare it to, but you know,
Sentai is Shakespeare.
If you think about it, drunk people are a lot like toddlers. They're a lot like young kids, and what they would do in Shakespeare is like if a really big loud moment happened and it like snaps all the drunks, like, oh wait, something's happening, I better pay attention. And then like they have like a quick recap of what just happened, and then they continue on. Like it's actually like.
Yeah.
It was made for that specific reason. It's like, hey, loud moment, drunks, wake up. Here's what just happened. Okay, continue on. I feel like this is kind of in a similar way of like, oh, we're having a lot of like nuanced like character traits and story beats, and then every once in a while it has to be like, it's this, guys, it's okay. Like, and then they move on. Like, I feel like they did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't in, like, a patronizing way, so I wouldn't... Yeah. I'm not gonna give them shit for it.
Yeah. Next episode looks really interesting. Like I said, we saw in the preview that it seems like seemingly all 5 of them now will know each other's faces, at least. It seems like. Because at least at the ending of the preview, you see all of them in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't know necessarily if it's just them all conveniently in the room together, or if they all know that they're all Rangers or not. We don't know that yet, because we haven't seen the episode. But it's going to be real interesting next episode. Yeah. Also, we saw Saru brother with the cops. I don't know what happened there, but like, and I'm not saying like, oh, he was arrested. I mean, he has the megaphone giving demands. I don't know what he's doing, but
oh, there goes a Skeletor.
Skeletor died. But
I don't know if there's that much left to talk about.
Well, yeah,
it was just a good episode.
Any final theories? Any thoughts?
Well, I've noticed the pattern is kind of, oh, this, like, it's like, oh, either Taros is working with someone, and you're getting to know their personalities mixing with his, while they introduce another character. Like, that's been kind of what's been going on. So, and we've seen that with Yellow, and now we saw it with Pink. I wonder if we're going to see it with Blue. We're going to see Taro hanging out with him, while they're introducing Black a little bit more. And then maybe by the end of the episode, they're all gonna start to mesh, because there's not really anyone else to really introduce. Like, so I'm wondering, like, oh, okay, I'm hoping by the end of the episode they'll all be meshing together.
Yeah, it's really...
I feel like they're kind of, like, letting the bigger plot points of the actual show kind of take a back seat to characters, and I appreciate that, if anything.
Well, it's early on. You need...
You need to know the characters before you can be invested in their story. Like, you have to care about the characters.
Well, yeah.
I can very much see that's what they're doing, so.
Yeah. Again, there was a lot to talk about this episode, so it makes sense of why we're running as long as we are. But
funny that, like, last episode, I was like, I don't really have much to say about this episode. It went on for, like, 40 minutes.
Yeah, it went on for way longer, but
at least, like, I feel like there was a lot to talk about in this. I'm really excited for the next episode.
Two thumbs up for this one.
Yeah, this one was good. Again, my favorite so far, but we haven't seen a whole lot yet, so I have a lot of high hopes for this show. I can tell that I really feel like this is going to be a good one.
Yeah,
if you guys can watch this, definitely. You know.
I went into the show with a lot, like, I'm not going to say low expectations, but I liked Zenkaiger a lot. And I already had some expectations because we heard, which were lies. They were straight up lies. There were so many rumors and everything about Juran and Kaito just being there. And it's like, yes, Kaito is technically there. Juran's not there.
We haven't seen him. I mean, we saw the dinosaur.
Yeah, it's like we see the Juran T-Rex to form Don Zenkaio, but that's it. But it's like, I also was like, well, it's not going to probably be as fun.
Oh, you know what? After next episode with Black, that's when they're probably going to start introducing Juran and Kaito again.
Well, yeah, it's like, I'm waiting for Kaito to get into the fold. Again, I don't think Juran's going to be in the show at all, because I think it's an alternate Kaito. It's not Kaito from Zenkaiger, it's the Kaito of this world, who works in the colorful still, but it's now his coffee shop. That's a real sentence.
Instead of colorful, it's monochromatic coffee shop.
Yeah.
Instead of colorful candy shop.
Yeah. And overall, yeah.
Monochromatic coffee. There we go.
Yeah, would recommend this show.
Again, I feel like there's a lot of breadcrumbs being dropped, and I can't wait to see where it leads.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I am like, Zenkaiger was so good. I feel like I was just kind of bitter because it's like Zenkaiger's over. But again, I'm really excited for this one. I have a lot of good feelings about this.
But I think that's
what was I gonna say?
You didn't tell me.
But yeah, like I kind of had my expectations a little bit low, just because, again, I'm not the biggest fan of Sentai. I feel like it's only recently kind of caught my attention fully.
Yeah.
So I kind of went in not with like low expectations, but just skeptical, I guess. But now it's like, okay, my expectations are going a little higher, because it's like I'm seeing how the potential and how good it could be. So I'm excited.
Well, yeah, then it's like, I feel like that's something, and this is advice I'm going to give to anyone watching Toku, especially watching Toku weekly. The most important thing is, and this is something I remember when I go back in time and I go listen to old stuff from like when O's and stuff was out, that I feel like a lot of people don't get this mindset, and it kind of hinders, where it's like people hate shows because they're not other shows. And the thing about Toku I really love is just, it's always different. Just wait for it to turn around. It's like we didn't like Saber when it was coming out, but we love Revice. Like I said, like, don't be mad and be like, well, the next rider's gonna suck because the last one sucks so hard. Don't expect that. But it's like, and like, I feel like it goes vice versa. If you really like a show, like, don't set, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started watching, and I watched Double, I was like, oh, I don't want to watch any of the other past shows. Like, nothing's gonna be that good. I watch O's, it blew me away. Because it's
still
like,
one of my favorites.
It's like, and it's one of those things where it's like, I've now learned where it's like, if I really like a show, I like to not lower my expectations for the other show, because it's like, yeah, I'm all hyped for the show that I really liked, and now I'm getting something new. But it's like, it's not fair to keep my high expectations for something that's not made by the same writer or the director or anything. It's just, it's not fair. So it's just keep an open mind. And if you're looking at Zenkaiger, looking at DonBrothers and being mad that it's not Zenkaiger, that it's not Gokaiger, that it's not this or that.
Yeah.
It's its own show.
I feel like even I don't know, like, I'm not one to talk, because I actually did kind of do that a little bit, and I do kind of regret it. Because I had just watched I'd actually just finished my first Sentai, which was Lupin vs. Pata Ranger, and I really, really liked it. I mean, I imagine, like, a lot of people that are more seasoned when it comes to Sentai were like, it was pretty average, but, like, because, like, it was all new to me, I really enjoyed it. I was like, I had a lot of fun with it. and then
Which makes sense.
and then
Ryusoul.
Ryusoul. Yeah, and then Ryusoul came along, and it wasn't as good in the. I don't know how long I made it though. I only made it to like
you made it to 18 episodes before
18.
You called it.
And then I stopped watching because I was like, oh, I don't like this. It's not as good, and I got mad at it. And I still haven't. It's still. I still haven't finished it, sadly. And then this is gonna sound like I'm really dogging on it, but I'm using it for like a comedic effect. Like, and then I watched Saber. And I finished it, and I was like, Ryusoul, baby, I'm so sorry. I judged you too quickly. Now I know how bad it can be. I judged it way too quickly, and I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like it's kind of something everyone needs to experience at some point. And I'm glad I kind of got mine out of the way early. Of just, again, that is what you said. It's the beauty of Toku. I think especially for like Ultraman, just because it's so short.
Yeah.
And I think we did talk about that a little bit for Trigger or something.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I think at some point, but like, that's kind of the beauty. Like, if you don't like one Sentai, if you don't like one Ultraman, if you don't like one Kamen Rider, just wait a bit, and then maybe you could have something good next year.
Yeah.
It's not interconnected or anything, so it's kind of nice. Or even like, oh, since I'm not liking the show, I can go back and watch a show I haven't gotten time to watch. You know, it's just
and or give more attention to Sentai or whatever,
or try something out new. Again, that was one of the reasons I even watched Sentai, was because I ran out of shit to watch.
And I feel like that's the moral of the story, you know, and that's the message I kind of want to give. Just. Try what you want, and I'm okay. No, you don't. People don't have to be like me, because I'm a psychopath. If I hate it, I still have to finish it, because what happens if there's that off chance that it turns really good? That never happens sometimes. Like, I wait for it, and then the show's over, and I'm like, wasn't even worth it. I'm just a psychopath. But it's like, I'd say give it a chance, but if you reach a point where you're like, I can't stand this anymore, then stop watching, because it's like, I feel like there's no way a show can turn the ship often, where it's like, especially if you're hitting a point where you want to break a wall, and I've had several points like that. And overall, that's the message I want to give.
And going off of that, I would say, like, from my experience with Ryusoul, because right when I stopped watching it, I mean, like, maybe, like, the next episode or two, like, you came up to me and were like, dude, it got better. Dude, it got really good. It got a lot better, and it's really interesting. I think you should start watching it again. And I was stubborn. I said no. I would say, like, yeah, definitely, like, listen to what he just said of, like, if you just cannot stand a show, and you're not the kind of crazy person to just, no, I have to finish it. I have to. You don't have to finish it, dude. You don't have to. Just give yourself a break and don't do it. However, like, especially if you have, like, maybe some other friends that are watching, or maybe, like, you know, look, because I know that sometimes, you know, people that watch this kind of stuff are a little bit few and far between. Yeah. Like, especially in America, where it isn't as popular, or I guess just legal. Not Japan. But if, you know, like, look around online, if people are like, oh, wow, the show really turned up and got better, maybe, you know, swallow your pride a bit and give it another shot. But if it just, like, they were wrong, this didn't get better, I still don't like it, then definitely just don't bother. But don't be afraid to give this show a second chance.
My thing is, if there's aspects you like, maybe, where it's like, if you're here's the thing, I will say, if you don't like the characters, yeah, there's nothing that you can do, even if the story gets better, but you hate those characters, unless the story turns around really good. That's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. It's like, you don't care. And it's like, and if the story's really weak and the characters are really weak, there's overall everything that can go wrong. The only time I can say that that's ever really worked that I can even think of is, this isn't even Toku, but like BoJack Horseman. The only reason that it worked was because that was the point. Like, the whole reason why the story got better was because the characters were getting their comeuppance, basically. It's like, things were changing based on the behaviors that they had shown. It wasn't just, oh, they're just terrible. I mean, yeah, BoJack is, like, a bad person, but, like, oh, you know, like, that was the point, was the thing. Yeah. Like, that's the only time I think I can say is a good example of that. I don't really know if there are any in Toku that at least I can think of, but I can think of a couple, but not off the top of my head. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why we like shows like this, or like Zenkaiger, as much as we do. It's like, we like these characters, we care about these characters,
And now that we know and like and care about them, let's see what they can do. Let's see what happens, basically. Because I feel like a show, like, you can make a whole show just on characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's literally, like, you can make a show just on that. I mean, that's what a lot of sitcoms are. It's just like, you know these characters, you enjoy these characters, here's the wacky situation they're in this week. But, you know, obviously with, like, shows that are a little bit more, not episodic, but a little bit more, is it chronological?
Oh,
No,
serialized.
Serialized. Like, it's like, obviously there's a deeper plot going on, but, you know, it's just really hard to do the reverse. Like, you have to care about the characters in order to care about what they're going through.
Or at least that's just us.
Again, maybe that's just us, you know, but I feel like that's something that we wholeheartedly agree on.
But, yeah, no. So,
Definitely, if anybody of you are watching, leave your thoughts. Like, we're really happy to talk about this show. Like, are you loving it? Are you hating it? Tell us why, you know?
my Dawn Blaster's still not here. It's in Japan somewhere, so expect that video whenever it happens.
Yeah, my birthday presents are in that box, too. Get here already.
But yeah, I think that's it. I think now that ramble's over.
A nice little discussion.
But yeah, no. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Like she said, put your thoughts and feelings down in the comments.
Even if they're different than ours, we're always open.
Yeah, if you, I'm about to say, like, don't just start attacking us, though, because you're not going to get interactions if you're coming at me being like, DonBrothers sucks. Anyone who likes it should have their house burnt down. I'm like, whoa, dude, you need to calm down. I'm not saying anybody out there's like that, but I'm saying if I don't talk back to you,
I'm gonna burn your house down with exploding peaches.
But like,
J. Jonah Jameson is coming for you.
Oh my god. But overall, I think that's it. Until whatever I do next, which will probably be a bunch of Vice stamps. I just got a bunch of Vice stamps. Expect Vice stamp videos.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Lots of stuff coming up. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, I have a lot
You may even see me in the future. Teaser. Maggie, would you like to say anything?
Okay.
That's a good point. Thank you.
But,
Thank you for your participation.
So.
And sitting on my lap. This whole thing.
So. Till next video.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.